Welcome to my channel. Here, I'll be sharing some of the most terrifying stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. In this video, I'll be reading a story titled Terrifying Tinder Date Gone Wrong. I stumbled into a dark ritual written by one of my viewers. This story is about a woman who goes on a Tinder date with a charming man, only to end up tied to a chair and witness a dark ritual. It's a chilling tale that will leave you questioning who you can trust. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with more bone-chilling stories like this one. Get ready for your heart to be racing as you uncover what happens next. I had been single for a while and decided to give Tinder a try. After a few weeks of swiping, I matched with Jack. He was charming and funny, and we quickly hit it off. We exchanged numbers and made plans to meet up for drinks at a local bar. When I arrived at the bar, Jack was already there waiting for me. He looked even better in person than in his pictures, and our conversation flowed effortlessly. He had a great sense of humor, and we laughed so much that I lost track of time. As the night wore on, Jack suggested that we go back to his apartment. I hesitated for a moment, but he was so charming that I eventually agreed. We got into his car and drove to his apartment, which was on the outskirts of town. As soon as we walked through the door, I could sense that something was off. The apartment was dimly lit with candles, and there was a strange energy in the air. I tried to brush off my unease and focus on the conversation, but then Jack offered me a drink. I hesitated for a moment, but he assured me that it was just a cocktail that he had made himself. I took a sip and it tasted sweet and tangy, but then I started to feel dizzy and disoriented. Everything around me seemed to spin, and I struggled to keep my eyes open. When I woke up, I was tied to a chair in a room I didn't recognize. Panic surged through me as I tried to remember how I had gotten there, and then I remembered the drink. Jack must have put something in it. As I struggled against my restraints, I could hear Jack chanting in the room next to me. The air was thick with the smell of burning herbs, and the room seemed to pulsate with eerie energy. I knew I had to find a way out, but the room was empty except for the chair I was tied to. After a few minutes of frantic struggle, I managed to break free of the chair. I crept out of the room, trying to be as quiet as possible, but then I heard a scream. It was coming from the room next to me. I realized that I had to investigate, even though every instinct was telling me to run. As I peered inside, what I saw made my blood run cold. Jack was standing over a young woman who was bound and gagged on the floor. He was holding a knife in his hand and chanting in a language that I couldn't understand. The woman's eyes were wide with terror, and she was thrashing around in a futile attempt to free herself. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. This wasn't just some guy who had taken things too far on a Tinder date. This was something much darker and more sinister. Jack was performing some kind of dark ritual, and I stumbled into the middle of it. As I turned to run, I saw Jack's eyes fix on me. For a moment, we just stared at each other. Him with a look of pure hatred, me with a look of pure terror, and then he lunged toward me with the knife. I didn't think, I just reacted. I dodged out of the way and ran towards the door, my heart pounding in my chest. I heard Jack's footsteps behind me, but I didn't look back. I just kept running. When I finally made it out of the apartment, I collapsed on the sidewalk, gasping for breath. Only then did I realize the full extent of what had just happened. Jack had been performing some kind of dark ritual, and I had stumbled into the middle of it. I shuddered at the thought of what could have. I tried to calm my racing thoughts and think of a way out. That's when I saw a window on the far end of the room. It was small and high, but maybe I could break it open and escape. I scanned the room for anything I could use to break the window, and my eyes fell on a chair. I walked over to it and picked it up. then brought it crashing down onto the window. The glass shattered and I quickly climbed out, ignoring the cuts on my hands. I found myself on the roof of the building with nowhere to go, but then I spotted a fire escape ladder leading down to the street. I ran over to it and began to climb down, my heart pounding in my chest. When I finally reached the street, I looked back up at the building. I could see the flicker of candles in the window of Jack's apartment, and my blood ran cold. He was still up there performing whatever twisted ritual he had planned. I knew I had to get as far away as possible, so I started to run. As I ran through the streets, I could hear Jack's footsteps echoing behind me. I knew he was following me, and the thought made me want to scream. I could feel his breath on the back of my neck, and I knew that he was getting closer. But I didn't stop. I just kept running. Finally, after what felt like hours, I saw the flashing lights of a police car up ahead. I ran towards them, tears streaming down my face, and collapsed onto the ground. The police quickly took control of the situation, and within minutes, they had arrested Jack. It wasn't until I was sitting in the back of the police car, watching as Jack was taken away in handcuffs, that the full weight of what had just happened hit me. I had narrowly escaped a horrific fate, and I knew that I would never be the same again. In the days and weeks that followed, I tried to move on from what had happened. I went to therapy, talked to friends and family, and tried to put the experience behind me. But it was always there, lurking in the back of my mind, a constant reminder of the dangers that lurked in the world. Years have passed since that terrifying Tinder date gone wrong, but I still think about it often. It changed me in ways that I never could have anticipated, and I know that I will never forget it, but I also know that I am stronger now because of it. I survived something that could have destroyed me, and that knowledge gives me a sense of strength and resilience that I never had before. In the end, I can only hope that Jack is still behind bars, where he belongs. I hope that he never has the chance to hurt anyone else, to take away their sense of safety and security. And I hope that anyone reading this will take it as a warning that no matter how charming or funny someone might seem, you never know what they might be capable of. Trust your instincts and always put your safety first.